In neighboring St. Paul, more than 100 students took their grievances over police brutality to the Capitol, where lawmakers inside the fenced-in State House could be seen peeking out through the curtains to look at protesters outside. The student protests were organized on Instagram by Minnesota teen activists, a local group founded after the George Floyd protests last summer. Students from at least 110 schools, you hear that? You could cry. Students from 110 schools should be singing the national anthem and taking the Pledge of Allegiance to the least racist, multiracial country in the history of the world. That's what they should be doing. Had planned protests to honor Daunte Wright. Honor Daunte Wright. I read to you, they don't know a damn thing about Daunte Wright, except that the press told them he's black and the officers were white. That's all that mattered. At 1:47 p.m., the time Daunte Wright was shot 8 days before, hundreds of Minneapolis teenagers sat together on the ground to mark 3 minutes of silence. Ray Sean, 16, a student at the Fair High School for the Arts, said he had spent those 3 minutes thinking about, quote, the change we're going to make. Isn't that great? That's what America needs, change. As a young black man, he said he had come to the protest even though his mother, worried about the risk, had tried to convince him not to. It's interesting that his mother warned him about that. And it's an extremely fair and I think the only, or one of the only, compassionate questions to ask. Is there a dad in his life? He wanted, quote, to fight for what I believe in, he said. What does he believe in? Ending genocide against blacks? What does he believe in? It's a shame that the children have to come out and fight for our lives. Fight for our lives. Wow. Meanwhile, the president is telling kids their age to get vaccinated so that they don't die of COVID. Chance of a 16-year-old dying because he's black or dying because of COVID are close to zero in both cases. But it does fill your life with meaning. I got to say that. What is it? Nothing like gallows to focus the mind. Make-believe world that we live in. It's a shame that the children have to come out and fight for our lives. A student from North Community High School told a crowd of at least 600 young people. After George Floyd's killing, quote, America will never be the same again, said Kimberly Bernard, a New York organizer with the Black Women's March. See, that's what they want. They want America to never be the same again. It has nothing to blacks are the tool to use to do this. There's no going back to the way it used to be. Really? What was so bad in 2015? What did it used to be? I don't mean used to be 50 years ago, 150 years ago. Used to be 10 years ago, 20 years ago, 30 years ago. This is what they're doing. That's why at PragerU we feel we're sort of a race against time to save young people.